In 46 states, children stand up every single day and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, stating that liberty and justice is there for all. However, throughout all of American history, while there have been moves toward liberty and justice for all and equality for all, there are still many steps we have to take today in order to ensure that for everyone. Starting in 1776, when independence was declared from Britain, I almost said Germany, from Britain, and then 144 years after was when women finally got the right to vote. And only 45 years after that, in 1965, was the Voting Rights Act amended and when it was given to ensure rights to vote for all, with no discrimination and with no literacy tests holding them back from the right to vote. If this was presented more often from a very young age to all students, I think we would all be a lot more aware in equity and liberty and justice for all. And first, to ensure that everyone is properly taught about inclusivity in America and in the history classes, we must first make sure that inclusivity is given in the educational system in the very beginning. 1.2 million kids drop out of high school every single year. 30% nationwide, and in urban settings, 50 to 70% of kids drop out of school. We must first fix this and amend this and make sure that equal opportunity is given to all kids to pursue a complete education and to be sure that they are taught fully about their own history, about America's history, and not just a certain perspective the entire time. If we are taught fully about African Americans, Native Americans, LGBTQ, and Latinos, then we will know that much more about the people around us and we will be that much more understanding. In October this past year, my school had a protest against sexual assault. Many of the students at my school stepped forward and they shared their stories of sexual assault that they had experienced from other students, from random men, and from friends, and from family. And many of them said that if consent was taught more exclusively and it was more emphasized in sexual educational courses, then they believe that victims would be that much more decreased in all of America. And there would be less cases of sexual assault. Having this type of inclusivity in American curriculums would mean that much more safety for women and just in general for men and women who experience sexual assault. And having this reflected in American history classes as a whole, where that inclusivity is given, we will see that much more of an impact. 39 states require sexual education to be taught, but only 9 of those states require consent. If that was extended to all 50 states, I think we would see that much more of a change in the amount of sexual assault and the amount of rape a year, and just in the amount of basic respect that we give fellow human beings in understanding consent. And that basic respect can apply to everyone, and apply to everyone understanding everyone's stories and hearing all the victims' stories and making sure that their prosecutors are accused and held to justice. And having that basic respect also means that we have to understand the histories of everyone around us. We have to understand the Native Americans that were on this land before we were, and we have to give respect to them. We can't make fun of their culture like so many kids do. I know that some kids throw around the F slur, commonly used against the LGBT, at my school. I know it was used against a teacher one time, and if they were to properly understand the weight of that word and the history of that word, I think that they would use it that much less. If classes in general just covered more inclusivity, if they covered slurs, if they covered how people have been discriminated against throughout all of their lives, I think we would see so much more change amongst everyone and amongst all the statistics of Black Americans being shot, of justice not being properly brought, and we would just see so much more equality and equity. Properly educating America's upcoming future means that we can hold America true to its promise of liberty and justice that much more, because liberty and justice is up to us. And if we properly educate everyone in how to respect everyone else and to understand other people, we will see that much more liberty and justice in the world, because the generation today that we are currently teaching, they will be our lawmakers, they will be our politicians, they will be our future presidents. And if we can't ensure that the education system properly educates those future people that will be protecting the rights of everyone in America, I would say that we are not holding true to that promise of liberty and justice. And education can truly bring awareness to all and make everyone understand other people that much more. Thank you.